Now, if you went for the match yesterday at Nambole, welcome back. Despite the low turn-up, Uganda Cranes at least managed to walk away with 1 goal, beating Guinea in the World Cup qualifiers. But also Uganda, the government of Uganda yesterday secured funding from Japan for a new bridge at Karuma, securing a 121 billion shillings project that will begin that reconstruction of the Karuma Bridge in the year 2026. That is in the month of June. And with this equipment, it means that expansion joints, equipment that did not exist at the time the bridge was being constructed in the first place, will be fixed in there for the new bridge. But also, yesterday, the Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, announced on her X handle that she will be swearing in the MP-elect Elias Lukwago after the Kawempe North by-election and after he was gazetted on Monday. But good morning, Uganda. It is a rainy morning. I pray you get to work or to wherever you're planning to go to safe and sound despite the rain. And we still give thanks for the rain. With me is Robert Chirabo Nyonyi Ntono. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, Judy. Well, today, Elias Narukora will be sworn in.
Yes, I can imagine the joy.
Is the Lord Mayor, so
I hope there will be no confusing statements because of their names. So sometimes it will be easy for someone to just say Elias go for MP or
Elias Luyimbazi Narukora, who won the Kawempe North by-election, will be sworn in according to the X handle of the Speaker, and that will now mean that people of Kawempe have a member of Parliament. Kawempe North. I remember the Constitution gives 60 days since the death or the demise of a member of Parliament for the Electoral Commission to carry out elections, and these were held on the 13th. Now, so much happened in these elections, and it brings total joy to the hearts of the people in Kawempe North constituency. Why? There were also issues following. Not only was it a difficult moment through the campaigns and the actual day of voting, because I'd never seen some armored vehicles come to a polling station in my entire life. And of course the violence that happened there. Then after, we had issues of members of Parliament getting worried, when is this man going to be gazetted and sworn in? And also NUP had to meet the Electoral Commission. Now, good, the Electoral Commission gazetted Narukola, and today it gives us good news to know that he will be sworn in as a member of Parliament for Kawempe. We just hope that we shall have discipline. We just hope that they will follow the regulations that guide a member of Parliament elect who is coming to be sworn in. We don't want to have any unnecessary overexcitement, and also to our brothers and sisters in the armed forces, please, it is a happy moment. Someone won an election, is coming to swear in. Where security is needed, let it be there, and we do not have nasty incidents. I think, let's believe we've come to the end of this.
Yes,
now it's
we have indeed, because even Hajat Farida cancelled her petition to go to court over this same issue of elections, and she congratulated.
So I believe
honorable elect.
Yeah, today with the swearing in, we hope if Narukola's supporters behave in a reasonable manner, and if security officers behave in a reasonable manner, then it will be a good day. Yes, no wonder you are being blessed by the rains. So let everyone be very responsible, because sometimes, much as we may condemn security officers, also sometimes our actions, they are mandated to maintain law and order, to detect and prevent crime. So I think they should work in tandem. What the law says, don't carry this number of people, so please don't. If you have a party after, follow the procedure, because it's not accidental. You know you are going to be sworn in. If there are people that have to be notified, please do that, so that we have peace. I think it's time. You know, it is just an election.
Yes.
Why are we making it a matter of life and death?
And it's not yet 2026, of which we need to be even better in 2026.
And sooner or later, we are going in a national election.
Yes.
We are still even I'll still go back to the polls.
That is so true. That is Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono for you. My name is Julie F. Nantaba Musisi, and together we are having you alongside on this beautiful Wednesday morning. On that note, Robert, take us away with what is on the local scene.
Well, I want to begin with this very interesting story of counterfeit cement. Can you imagine?
Okay.
You spend so much buying cement, yet what you're buying is actually not cement. Now, let's go through it. A team of CID officers from Tororo and outside the district and others from different security organizations raided the Tea Cafe Ward, Usuku town, after receiving intelligence tips of a fake cement production in the area. Now, with a section of district leaders, including officials accused of facilitating the racket, independent investigator Milton Birungi, the Mbale CID in charge, was appointed. Well, sorry for that. We begin with His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who has commended the Muslim fraternity for coexistence with different sects within Islam and other regions. He encouraged the Muslims to work to improve household incomes and development of Ugandans so that the country does not rely on foreign aid. Museveni was hosting the Muslim community for iftar dinner at State House, Entebbe. President Museveni asked the Muslims to ensure that there is progress in the country. He commended the Muslim community for living in harmony with different sects within Islam and other religions in Uganda. Museveni urged the Muslims to work hard towards the development of the country so that Uganda does not rely on other countries like America for aid. The Vice President, Jessica Alupo, applauded the President for hosting an annual state iftar dinner for the Muslim community. The Muslim community, led by the Deputy Mufti of Uganda, Haji Muhammad Ali, pledged to work with all religions, and support government initiatives aimed at eradicating poverty. As means of accelerating modernization of agriculture, President Museveni pledged to support the Muslims' 10 regions across the country, each with a tractor. The state iftar dinner was also attended by ministers, ambassadors, judicial officials, politicians, and the business community. The Uganda Parliamentary Press Association has threatened to continue boycotting functions related to security officials in Parliament after the Minister for Internal Affairs failed to account for the recent scuffle between security and journalists. Minister Kahinda Otafile and Deputy David Mohozi had appeared before the Parliamentary Committee on Defense and Internal Affairs to present their ministerial policy statement for the financial year 2025-2026. The Uganda Parliamentary Press Association's President Samuel Ibanda Mugabe led the journalists out of the committee in order to cement the boycott. The members of Parliament sitting on the Parliamentary Committee on Defense and Internal Affairs tasked the line minister to account for the recent scenes in Kawempe North by-election, which left several people injured, including some journalists. The Minister for Internal Affairs, Kahinda Otafile, told the MPs that he was unaware of the events. This was happening as journalists covering Parliament under their umbrella organization, Uganda Parliamentary Press Association, were eagerly waiting for the positive response on actions and way forward from the Ministry of Internal Affairs, but in vain. Uganda Parliamentary Press Association President Samuel Ibanda Mugabe led the journalists out, expressing disappointment. The ministers had appeared to present the ministerial policy statement for the financial year 2025-2026. Still on the local scene, On the 9th of January 2025, the outlawed General Court-Martial charged and sentenced Dr. Kizza Besigye's lawyer, Aaron Kizza, with the offense of contempt of court by the chairman of the military court, Brigadier General Freeman Robert Mugabe. Aaron Kizza was sentenced to 9-month imprisonment on the contempt of court charge sheet, basing on the Supreme Court decision that declared the General Court-Martial's operations as being inconsistent with the Constitution and other facts therein. Lawyer Aaron Kizza's legal team filed a bail application before the High Court to enable him have temporary freedom pending his main suit challenging the decision of then the court-martial. The case bail application filed before Judge Michael Elubu of the High Court Division in Kampala, Aaron Kizza, through his legal team, asked court to grant him bail. Among those who stood sureties for lawyer Aaron Kizza included his wife Sylvia Tumwebaze, Professor Businje Kabumba, and a friend, Prima Kagwa. Prosecution led by Senior State Attorney Timothy Emerit objected the bail application on basis that the presented sureties are not substantial. The applicant shown circumstances warranting court to grant his bail, and that the court had no jurisdiction to hear the bail among applications since he was not convicted by the court hearing the case, among other grounds. And now finally, from the local scene, the National Unity Platform, NUP, has marked International Women's Day with a grand celebration at its headquarters in Makere Kavule. The event, attended by party leaders, members, and supporters, focused on empowering women and advocating for gender equality in all sectors. Women from different regions and leadership positions gathered in large numbers to commemorate the belated International Women's Day. The occasion featured speeches from key party leaders, testimonies from women across various sectors, and an award ceremony recognizing outstanding contributions by women in different fields. NUP President Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu praised the resilience and contributions of women within the party and across the country. The chief guest, Barbara Itungo Kyagulanyi, urged the women to participate in politics and run for leadership positions. The leader of opposition in parliament, Joe Senyonyi, said national development requires equal opportunities for both men and women, calling for policies that promote gender equality and women's empowerment. As part of the celebrations, various women were recognized for exceptional achievements and dedication. Among the awardees were artists, journalists, grassroots mobilizers, and other female contributors to the society. Now, with that story of Women's Day celebrations at the National Unity Platform headquarters, we now come to the end of our local stories. The chief guest.
I know, and very interesting footage there. But let's move on to matters foreign, and we're starting in Russia and Ukraine. Now, Russia and Ukraine have agreed to a naval ceasefire in the Black Sea in separate deals with the U.S. after 3 days of peace talks in Saudi Arabia. Washington said all parties would continue working together toward a durable and lasting peace in statements announcing the agreements, which would reopen an important trade route. They have also committed to develop measures to implement a previously agreed ban on attacking each other's energy infrastructure, the White House said. But Russia said the naval ceasefire would only come into force after a number of sanctions against its food and fertilizer trade were lifted. U.S. officials have been separately meeting negotiators from Moscow and Kyiv in Riyadh with the aim of brokering a truce between the two sides. The Russian and Ukrainian delegations have not met directly. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the deal to halt strikes in the Black Sea was a step in the right direction. But shortly after Washington's announcement, the Kremlin said the Black Sea ceasefire would not take effect until sanctions were lifted from Russian banks, producers and exporters involved in the international food and fertilizer trades. The measures demanded by Russia include reconnecting the banks concerned to the Swift Pay payment system, lifting restrictions on servicing ships under the Russian flag involved in the food trade, and on the supply of agricultural machinery and other goods needed for the production of food. Now moving on to matters Gaza and Israel, hundreds of people have taken part in the anti-Hamas protest in Gaza since the war with Israel began, taking to the streets to demand the group to step down from power. Masked Hamas militants, some armed with guns and others carrying batons, intervened and forcibly dispersed the protesters, assaulting several of them. Videos shared widely on social media by activists typically critical of Hamas showed young men marching through the streets of Beit Lahia, northern Gaza on Tuesday, chanting out, 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 Hamas, out. Pro-Hamas supporters defended the group, downplayed the significance of the demonstrations, and accused the participants of being traitors. Hamas is yet to comment on this. The protesters in northern Gaza came a day after Islamic Jihad gunmen launched rockets at Israel, prompting an Israeli decision to evacuate large parts of Beit Lahia, which sparked public anger in the area. Now, Israel has resumed its military campaign in Gaza following nearly 2 months of ceasefire, blaming Hamas for rejecting a new U.S. proposal to extend the truce. Hamas, in turn, has accused Israel of abandoning the original deal agreed in January. Hundreds of Palestinians have been killed and thousands displaced since Israel military operations resumed with airstrikes on the 18th of March. One of the protesters, Beit Lahia resident Mohammed Diab, had his home destroyed in the war and lost his brother in an Israel airstrike a year ago. Now coming to Africa, and that is to our neighbor in South Sudan. South Sudan is on the brink of a renewed civil war as violence between rival factions escalates, the United Nations has warned. Now, the situation in the country is dire, said Nicholas Haysom, head of the UN mission in South Sudan, late on Monday, as tension between forces allied with President Salva Kiir and those of Vice President Riek Machar continued to build. Efforts to negotiate a peace deal would only be possible if Kiir and Machar were able to put the interests of their people ahead of their own, the UN official noted, warning that disinformation and hate speech are stirring ethnic hatred and provoking increasing violence that has displaced tens of thousands. South Sudan, the world's youngest country, fell into a bloody civil war soon after gaining independence in 2011 as forces aligned with Kiir and an ethnic Dinka and fought those loyal to Machar, an ethnic Noir. The conflict killed more than 40,000 people before a 2018 peace deal saw the pair form a government of national unity. However, tension has flared once more. And that brings us to the end of Foreign Matters, but let's also look at what is on the local scene, Robert. Press scene, pardon me.
Well, in the press this morning, we take a look at the New Vision, where in the New Vision this morning, government unveils plans for 10 new expressways. Wow. And then there we have 300,000 skills Uganda needs. What are those skills? Well, the New Vision gives you more of that. And here the president hosts Muslims, that is for Iftari dinner, a pictorial there of His Excellency with some of his guests as almost the holy month comes to an end. Yes, so he hosted them. Then China grants Uganda 100 billion, those are in dollars, I think so, 100 billion for development project. Now, what projects are those? Well, you can only know if you have the details in the New Vision. And over 163 mega transport projects to be implemented. Which projects are these? The New Vision has more of that. Now, allow me quickly run through the Daily Monitor. And the Daily Monitor, shocking defeats in Umeme closet. Now, the end of the concession of Umeme and of course the buyout. There's so much. Every day we are getting so much. Yeah, but of course there are figures for you according to the Daily Monitor, and we have 4 to stand trial over Kagezi murder. Oh, this has also taken some time. Wow. Then plan to relocate government offices hits brick wall. Which offices are those? And Nakayenja's 28 years as a housemaid in one home. Whew, how possible is that? Well, she's been a housemaid in one home for 28 years.
Home is blessed.
But she's also a good one. Those people sometimes are also not that very easy. Still moving on. Excel in PLE. Best pull out for English, mathematics, science, and social studies for you there. And so much the Daily Monitor brings you this morning. Well, now allow me move away from Uganda and look at the citizens' renewed hope in quest for HIV cure. There, the citizen has more of that. And of course, why many borders lack side mirrors. Look at that picture. 9 of them has any. You wonder. And Chadema hits back at party's registrar in row over Kojem and plans to create new constituencies draws mixed views. Then also we have Imam and Khadija share unwavering belief in women's empowerment. That is in the Citizens. Now a quick one through the Daily Nation this morning. Revealed legal fees scandal in countries. They give you that. And also as Ruto's Mount Kenya allies prepare way for the that is a Chagua men dismiss tour. And death of a cancer warrior, very sad news there. Of course, also they bring you so much regarding politics in our neighboring country, Kenya. So those are some of the highlights in the dailies this morning.
Also, you'd wonder, why do we as passengers take borders without side mirrors? Although that was in Tanzania, or Kenya, is it? But even in Uganda, we have a lot of them.
I think there are 2 people have seen in many countries.
Yes. Patients
in hospitals, they never know their rights.
Yes.
When a person is sick, some never ask even doctor, why are you injecting? They now the doctor writes, you don't know what they are writing. A prescription, go then they tell you you're going to get an injection there. So with Africans, we don't ask. Then also it comes to the transport sector.
Yeah.
How many people are border parks you sit? You stayed in a matatu, sorry, in a taxi, in a bus. Someone is driving like they are mentally sick.
Yes.
And you're saying nothing completely.
We are quite complacent and it's something we should fight against. But thank you so much for being a part of the show. Good Morning Uganda does continue. But for now, let's take a short break and in there with an inspirational song of the day. Good morning. That she will be swearing in the MP-elect Elias Lukwago after the Kawempe North by-election and after he was gazetted on Monday. But good morning, Uganda. It is a rainy morning. I pray you get to work or to wherever you're planning to go to safe and sound despite the rain. And we still give thanks for the rain. With me is Robert Chirabo Nyonyi Tono. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, Judy. Well, today Elias Narukora will be sworn in.
Yes, I can imagine the joy.
The Lord Mayor. So
I hope there will be no confusing statements because of their names. So sometimes it will be easy for someone to just say Elias go for MP or
Elias Luyimbazi Narukora, who won the Kawempe North by-election, will be sworn in according to the under of the speaker, and that will now mean that people of Kawempe have a member of parliament. Kawempe
yes.
North. I remember the constitution gives 60 days since the death or the demise of a member of parliament for the Electoral Commission to carry out elections, and these were held on the 13th. Now, so much happened in these elections, and it brings total joy to the hearts of the people in Kawempe North constituency. Why? There were also issues following. Not only was it a difficult moment through the campaigns and the actual day of voting, because I'd never seen some armored vehicles come to a polling station in my entire life. And of course the violence that happened there. Then after, we had issues of members of parliament getting worried, when is this man going to be gazetted and sworn in? And also NUP had to meet the Electoral Commission. Now good, the Electoral Commission gazetted Narukola, and today it gives us good news to know that he will be sworn in as a member of parliament for Kawempe. We just hope that we shall have discipline. We just hope that they will follow the regulations that guide a member of parliament elect who is coming to be sworn in. You don't want to have any unnecessary overexcitement. And also to our brothers and sisters in the armed forces, please, it is a happy moment. Someone won an election, he's coming to swear in. Where security is needed, let it be there. And we do not have nasty incidents. I think, let's believe we've come to the end of this.
Yes,
now it's
we have indeed, because even Hajat Farida cancelled her petition to go to court over this same issue of elections, and she congratulated
So I believe
the honorable elect.
Yeah, today with the swearing in, we hope if Narukola's supporters behave in a reasonable manner, and
give no
if
reason.
security officers behave in a reasonable manner, then it will be a good day. Yes, no wonder you're being blessed by the rains. So let everyone be very responsible, because sometimes, much as we may condemn security officers, also sometimes our actions, they are mandated to maintain law and order, to detect and prevent crime. So I think they should work in tandem. What
is Good Morning Uganda? Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, dundolo.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
says don't carry this number of people,
So big.
please don't. If you have a party rafter, follow the procedure, because it's not accidental. You know you are going to be sworn in. If there are people that have to be notified, please do that, so that we have
friends together, formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Joko, I thought I was one of your friends.
You are,
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief, and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government, designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. Good morning once again on this rainy Wednesday. It's such a joy to always have you here. But at the start of this rainy season, residents of Munambuti were faced by the heavy rains that destroyed their property, especially tents where they were settled, having left their homes in Bududa after the landslides. Now they are settled at that area, but unfortunately the tents where they stay were destroyed by the heavy rains. And as we speak right now, they are faced with a lot of calamity. They have no water, they have nothing left with them. But even while they settled there, the government had promised 17 million Uganda shillings, to give them 17 million Uganda shillings for them to construct homes, but also the government had also promised them 2 acres of land for them to be able to start farming. And now that the rains are here, it is the right season for them to start planting. But unfortunately, they've seen none of that come forth. So this morning on The Real, Robert and myself delve deep into the disaster preparedness of Uganda. And that is the conversation we are having today. So feel free to be a part of it. The WhatsApp number is displayed on your screen. Get in touch and share your opinion as well as we delve into it. Robert, let's look at the disaster preparedness of Uganda. First and foremost, it's a constant story with Bududa. At least every year we will hear stories, we will read on the, watch the news, read the newspapers of landslides in that part of Uganda. Why is it like that? I believe many years ago it was never the story, or even before you and I probably existed, it was never the story. But why in our generation?
Well, thank you very much. And of course, I have to thank our viewers that are watching UBC this very cold morning. Now, we must understand that indeed, this wasn't the case many years ago. And what usually annoys me is that the people who are least educated knew the dangers of tampering with some of these areas. And our great-great-parents had some myth or ways of scaring people. For example, where I grew up, they will tell you that on the hilltop, there are ghosts. But the ghosts were not there. Like, there are ghosts, you don't cut trees, you don't graze from there, you know?
Yes.
It was more like a sacred place. But these people knew that if you go on that hill, begin cultivating, occupy these hills, what is going to happen? The vegetation that holds the soil together, if you remove that vegetation, this soil is going to loosen and you'll have landslides. Now, it's very annoying and confusing in this day and age that the land are choosing to sleep on hilltops for better view of cities. In this day and age that we are occupying these places, one would say that, Robert, be very honest to us, there's population pressure. The population is increasing. But let me ask you also another question. If there is population pressure, no doubt about it, statistics, yes, but the population we had in 1986, I quote that here because His Excellency usually quotes 1986 and something like that. Of course, we've had tremendous increase in our population, Julie. But now, why is it that when these uncertainties come in, we find places to resettle these people? If you are saying it's population pressure that is driving the people there, no doubt population is increasing. But how come when disaster comes, we'll find places to relocate these people? So it means, I don't even want to say sensitization, because where we've reached in this country, it is more than common sense for people to know. People have gone to school to understand that when we mess with Mother Nature, it's going to speak. Now, people encroaching on these areas, when you go to Bududa, they'll tell you, people are not staying on those hills. Maybe I remember one time I was reading history in that area, that there was people who had gone for Imbaru celebration, the circumcision that happens, I think, in every Lipla. And there were many, and they were caught up by those floods. They had slept there. But these were places, they had even some scares not to go there because they knew what would befall them in case they missed. But today, the way we are encroaching on these areas, and it will hurt more when it's not the poor going there, but it's the rich occupying hills. They bring graders, they bring excavators.
Now, when you talk about the rich and elite people actually encroaching with this land, on these lands in our day and age, do you think it's selfishness? Is it ignorance, although ignorance is not bliss? But I remember here on the show one time we hosted a lady, an environmental activist, Maureen, who expressed that there are many laws regarding the environmental policies in Uganda, but many have not been implemented. And that means if they're not implemented, it means they're nowhere to be read, to be enforced for people to know. So would you call it, give it the weighing scale of it's selfishness from those who are elite and they just choose to push these things at the back of their minds, or they're actually ignorant? They do not know much about the environmental impact. Yet at the start, you also mentioned that our old folks of the older generation, for some reason, they never went to school, but they had the wisdom to protect the environment. But in your perspective, what
I think I would say it's selfishness and arrivalism as well. You know, for lack of a better word, I'll use arrivalism. Because many of the things people do, and I see them, many elite, I see them, they have the knowledge, but someone will tell you, hills are for rich people, you know? Because you see the view of Kampala, the view of the lake, the view of Mbale city, the view of Gulu city, the view, you know, arrivalism. What does it, how the, you know, sleeping, so if you sleep on a hill, what is that? You know, if you see the view of Kampala, you see so and so stays there, so and so built there, so and so, I want to fit in that society. But if you're very cognizant of the environment, and if you're not selfish enough to know that I may have the ability and the good car that I can climb, that can drive up there, but there is someone in the valley here. When we remove this vegetation that you want to cultivate uphill, but there is someone in the valley here, or a bit away from on the slope, where you mess with this vegetation, you're going to affect this poor person. So it's a mixture of selfishness, a little bit of ignorance, but more so arrivalism, because when you speak to many of them, talk about class, view, the things they will give you is because it's expensive. Even if it's cultivation, it's expensive to cultivate uphill. It's expensive to build uphill, transporting material, whatever you're doing. So it's expensive. That means you could be able to use the much money you're going to spend on that downhill or in a better place of land and live comfortably, or cultivate, carry on agriculture comfortably. For the people of Bududa, one will say, Robert, these are poor communities and there's population pressure, but well aware of the disaster that is likely to befall you, then it is very risky for you. And I hate it when we see government being not being proactive and carrying on what I usually term as surgical operation. Local authorities, government, why must we wait for these disasters to happen? Because government of Uganda has a disaster preparedness ministry. But also we have our scientists who always give us information. They will tell you that you are going to have rains above normal. There are likelihoods of this and this. Why then don't we move in very fast? I've seen even the whites carry out what we call forceful evacuation. Because it is very cheaper to say, let's compensate these people before disaster befalls them. Let them vacate this area. Or if necessary, even if, because the state has the ability and mandate to protect life and property of its people. So it can still sense that this is a risky venture. Let's have the people out of here, and those areas that have not yet been very densely populated, avoid people from settling there. I believe we have so many men and women in uniform. And also we can enforce certain things that people don't stay there. But these floods we are seeing, where now we are hearing our brothers and sisters call out for help, government help us, give us this, you promised this, is because somewhere we are not proactive And that now look at where we are.
And now that brings me to a question. And before I actually ask that question, you can be a part of the show by texting. That is sending a WhatsApp message to 0709602592. Now, the government has a national policy for disaster preparedness and management. And in there, the government has to look at how to educate communities on how to protect their environment and also teach them on the dangers of environmental degradation. That in there, the government has the role of protecting communities from poverty due to environmental degradation. And in there, the government also has to have institutions that help manage environmental issues. Do you think we have any? And if they are there, are they active? Do we know them as the citizens of Uganda?
Now, I've always said, and I'll repeat this, that if there is any country I know that has good policies on paper, is Uganda. We're very, very good in terms of policies, in terms of laws, and I want to thank our government for that. But the biggest challenge has always come when it comes to implementation. And also monitoring and supervision of people in these offices. Let me just give a simple example. We are supposed to be here by 5:30 every morning. We are supposed to start this show at 6:30 every morning. Whether it rains,
Whether it shines.
whether it's freezing, we are supposed to be here. And if we don't, we are held accountable.
That's true.
We have a producer, an assistant producer, we have a TV manager, and all that. Much as we love our work, we know there are repercussions for not turning up or not keeping time. Why? Because someone is there. You're not taking free government money. You know it's your obligation. But now, when you have an environment officer, when you have institutions, you have Forestry Authority, National Environment Authority, you have local governments, even from LC1, we have Secretary for Environment. We have all these people that are supposed to do this work. Now, who is checking on them to see if they are really performing or not performing? People are comfortably in offices. Do they have targets? Is there someone following up? I want to say the answer is no. Second, this is coupled by political influence. I remember many times I used to move with the National Environment Authority under their PRO. That was, I think, now makeup. I'm not very good at names sometimes. Now, we would see how NEMA sometimes, or National Forestry Authority, wants people to vacate certain areas. And this was so much in Bududa. Government says, no, you people leave. A politician says, you're not going to transfer 500 of my voters. We even see it where it's not disaster. Government wants to work on a road, government wants to renovate the old park or do some maintenance in the new tax park, and a politician even can come and step on top of a taxi. You're going nowhere. So when you look at a lack of supervision and monitoring of people in these offices, are they performing or not? When you look at a bit of ignorance, when you look at political influence coming in there, and lastly, corruption. Some of these people, maybe they want to go, but someone says, bring some money, you will be here. Don't leave. Government is going to compensate you. I know somewhere where government has compensated, but when they, one time we had the railways, that is not on the environment, but government would compensate people. Those compensated sell to others. Now after some years, government comes, and the people who are compensated and sold, the other people there. We've been here, we can't live without being compensated. So it's a number of factors that are mixed here.
How do you think the government is prepared? Because people's lives are at risk here, looking at what happened to those who are settled in Monambuti. It's sad. They were promised 17 million cash donation or a gift to help them through, and they haven't received it right now. As we speak right now, they have no water, they have nowhere to
So the
stay.
tents are gone.
The tents are gone. This is human life at risk, and somebody who probably is responsible from the torch, the light you've shone. It means that somebody is not being a good steward. Somebody is not playing their part to actually save a human soul. So do you think government is prepared? If so, how prepared for anything that could happen?
Earlier on, I said our government knew that we shall have disasters. Now, the level of preparedness is a challenge. How? Disasters are bound to happen. Even the United States, they get these disasters.
Yes.
They have the bushfires.
The recent bushfires in January.
They have cyclones. They have hurricanes and all those things. But for Uganda's case, when it comes to landslides, these are expected. So, the government is not doing very well as far as being proactive. I must say, our government is not doing very well when it comes to proactiveness.
Being proactive.
However, when it comes to surgical operations, I want to thank the office of the Honorable Prime Minister. That most of the times when we've had these disasters, not forgetting issues of quality of what is delivered, but I must say, they have done all it takes to come to the rescue of these people. They have provided shelter, temporary shelter. They have provided food. They have provided beddings. They have provided medical assistance where needed. But this is not sustainable. Because as you're settling with the issue of those in where I had this KCCA landfill collapse in Chitezi, now you have Bududa, you don't know who next. You know?
Yes.
Surgical operations are very hard. They're not sustainable. You rather prevent or look for permanent solutions. Now, most of the times, government, I don't know for some reason, but government, the officials know better, has sought of relocating these people by buying them land, settling them there. We also saw construction of houses for them. But this to the people has not been their want. In Chitezi, you remember the landfill government says, we are going to build for you houses. Sleep in these houses over a time as you're paying something small until you complete. The people are telling you no. Just give us money.
And we sort ourselves.
And we sort ourselves.
Speaking of
Bududa, give us money.
and we sort ourselves.
We sort ourselves. Government is saying no, we shall have land. We shall buy land for you. We shall build for you. So that we are sure, one, you've gone to a safe location. Two, you've not gotten a second wife. You've not made this business. So that we are sure for you you're done
Of where
and
the money
dusted.
has gone.
And then the people at the end of the day look at it as it's going to take long, because even if I'm selling land and I know the buyer is government, the biggest buyer and best buyer is
It's
government. So if you're working on 15 acres like I had for this particular case, first and foremost, in most of these areas it is hard to get 15 acres of land uncontested. They either have squatters, you have to pay them. They either have the deceased children, many, some are not. But if you have these people each look for
Their own.
their small pieces of land,
Yeah.
construct a house of their ability according to the money you've given them and choice,
And
it
start a new
is
life.
much easier. However, what guarantee do you have that the funds you give to them, they'll use them to build, and you won't have issues that the very people I don't want to call it compensation, but give money, have done so.
Now, when you talk about that, somebody comes through with a message and say, "Good morning, Uganda. If people stay in waiting bombs, then they should be forced to leave, because after they burden the government, no matter their reasons." That message ends then. I think it speaks into what you state of the government having to actually help look for locations, because some might still go back in the same locations or locate similar locations.
Oh, you're joking. Some were brought here in Chiliandongo. And you know what happened? Government bought land, resettled these people, but within a few months, many had gone back. Some said, well, these are our ancestral grounds. We are buried here. We can't leave them. But also some had valid reasons. Because I remember as a field man, I had an opportunity to interview some of them, and they said, Robert, you can't bring me from a place within my local people, my community, and you bring me to totally something very different. So if government gives me land, if I'm from Bududa, I'll at least find safe land
Near Bududa.
near Bududa, where I'm still with my people. It is still the same, maybe language, the same food. You know, people are so attached to their areas.
That's very
Leave alone you who come from Kampala and forget Masaka, forget Gomba, but you see, those people are very rooted
Yes.
within their areas. They are very attached when it comes to burial grounds and those sort of things. So some gave that as an excuse, and to many you would buy it 50-50. But I want to tell you, I've seen people who government has built for, and they have still become a problem going back to those areas. So maybe rather when they are given money, they buy they look for land, see what they can save. It's not bad saving. If at all there is something to save on that, build a house they want. Why? You may want to build for him a 3-bedroom, like I saw those that first went to Bududa. 3-bedroom, it has, this person, for him is not about that. He wants to get some bigger land, buy 2 or 3 cows, have a 2-bedroom, it is okay for him, start life.
And they're not about the toilet, they're about the latrine. It's more comfortable, and you're forcing them on
And
the
it's
toilet.
cheaper, because when I was looking at statistics in terms of records given for the houses that government constructed to resettle, I think it's either the UPDF engineering brigade, well, their cost, okay, the quality was also good, and the amenities they are given in these houses, but also their costs, I want to believe, were a bit higher if this amount of money, because they're after quality. Now if a man has been living in, is it called dust and water house, and some think that is him, you know,
fair enough.
why do you need to take him to
Now,
and spend more money?
If you want to be a part of the conversation, do send in your WhatsApp message to 0709602592 and share your opinion and your contribution on there. And somebody says the gods are getting crazy. Otherwise, this was expected because we had record heat wave this year, which of course was expected to be preceded with dangerous rains. Thank you so much, Don Valley, for getting in touch. Now that would bring us to a question: what exactly is the permanent solution government should find? You've mentioned the complexities. I mean, someone is not being a good steward in the flow chain of government doing its part, playing its part. But also, as humans, we are complicated. The complicated part of being a human is the fact that if you're given the money, you might not do exactly what it's supposed to do, and still you'll be the same problem to the government. So what exactly do you think is a permanent solution?
Thank you, Julie. First, we need to create more awareness. What may seem obvious may not be really obvious. You may assume that many Ugandans know the dangers of encroaching, the dangers of cultivating, the dangers of residing in these places. But maybe some don't know. And I'm tempted to believe that some don't know, because like I earlier said, you find even those that have money, those that are land, and they choose to inhabit these areas, sleep there, stay there for views and arrivalism effect. So,
but not educated.
Now what about those that are not educated? No wonder one said that gods are not happy. Why would they be happy when you choose to act like that? So one, government must take full control of these most at-risk areas. And when I talk of full control, if it means using force, let force be applied. Because at the end of the day, we lose lives, we lose property. And then we spend so much as government, that is taxpayers' money.
Leah actually says here that a mindset change should be accompanied with forced leave.
Yes, because let me tell you how much billions of money is government going to spend in the resettlement process. Even looking for the bodies, dead bodies. When we have those extra, that is a lot of money, of taxpayers' money. So government should take full control, research done, and see the most vulnerable areas, most at-risk areas. Government take control, either by force, or even if it means to compensate these people and relocate them before disaster. Because the cost of compensating these people, and they go and look for other areas, not you buying land. That may take a whole, looking for that big chunk of land. People know they are selling to government, the procurement and all that. Give them money. Let's leave these areas so that they are reclaimed. The trees, plant their vegetation, they are left to go back to their normal situation as they were before. And I want to tell you, these landslides are a result of man activity. Let's not go there. Let the trees grow, let the vegetation grow, like NEMA is doing when it comes to wetlands, reclaiming them so that they grow, and let's sensitize people. So it's a 3 approach: sensitization, compensation, and forceful evacuation.
And in a minute, what do you think as a community what is our role? What part are we supposed to play? Before we even talk about the government, what is our responsibility?
Well, we should know as a community when we go there we are going to die. So if you are going to die, you should ensure we do not die, our people don't die. Speak sense into them. Explain to them the risks attached, because at the end of the day, these are your cousins, these are your brothers, these are your friends, these are your in-laws that are going to perish in these landslides.
Thank you so much, Robert. And that brings us to the end of today's discussion on The Real. Good Morning Uganda does continue, and really the message is our environment is very important. If we disrespect it, it will definitely also hang us up. So we rather speak the language that it understands, protect it, and even before the government comes into the picture, we are the very first tier responsible for protecting where we live, where we survive as human beings. Good Morning Uganda does continue. We still have JMU Tourism Express Business, the agenda, so there's still a lot more. Stick around.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Juko.
Yo.
Wachikuwa. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda, haven't you heard of the parish development model, PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
All right, Rise and shine. It is a wonderful morning. My name is Zakia Lucky and welcome to the GMU Tourism Express. I want to start with the good news in the tourism sector. The Uganda Airlines launched a direct flight to the UK that will be doing 4 times a week, and it is starting on the 18th of May. You should be excited for that one. Previously, we talked about religious tourism, but that was dedicated to the Muslims. And this is the 3rd week of the Lent period, and this is being dedicated to the Christians. We are coming to you from Namugongo Shrine. Most of you know about this for the Uganda Matters particularly, but today you are going to be learning so much more about this place. It's not just about the Uganda Matters, but you're yet to get to understand what else happens here. Let's unveil it to you today. So we are inside of the shrine and we are at the very spot where Charles Rwanga was killed. But Ben is going to be taking us to the history about this particular area and give us even more information about this place. We're happy to have you, Mr. Ben, on the show.
Thank you so much. My name is Ben Tenywa, the Chief Pilgrim's Guide at the Uganda Matters Catholic Shrine Namugongo. Now we are inside here in the Uganda Matters Shrine. Where we are standing is the exact spot where they burnt Charles Rwanga, the leader of the Uganda Matters. It was around midday on Thursday, 3rd of June, 1886. A man known as Senkole tied Charles Rwanga here and burnt him from feet to head. But he told him, "You are burning me, but it is as if you are pouring water over my body. You have not even tied me properly. Leave me, I tie myself so that you can burn me. Go and tell the king that he has killed me for nothing. Let him repent. If he does not repent, I'll be the accuser before God." People came and took the ash. When the ash was over, they took the soil. When the soil was over, they started digging. A very big hole developed. They covered and put the altar. This is where bishops and priests celebrate Mass. This is a holy place. The painting in the background, you see, it is showing that the Uganda Matters are in heaven. They have got palms, signs of victory. They have conquered the death. Now they are in heaven praising Jesus and God. And down is the Blessed Sacrament. That's where they keep the body of Jesus in the form of bread and wine, which they give the faithful when they come for Holy Communion. And all those you see in the stained glasses, those are the Uganda Matters. Inside here is mahogany, outside copper sheets. The seating capacity of this shrine is 1,000. We have 4 masses every day, 5 masses every Sunday. The day we remember the Uganda Matters, over 1 million people come, masses in the compound. This church, this shrine, was started in 1967 and completed in 1975. It is a round shrine, it is a round church depicting African traditional hats and stands on 22 pillars representing the 22 Catholic Martyrs. Round showing African hats. So we pray here, the door of the Martyrs on the lake. There where you see white men, that is showing the arrival of the white fathers. Father Simeon Ludel and brother Amanis. Those are the people who evangelized the Uganda Matters. They were not killed. They wrote whatever we know. There you see Charles Rwanga baptizing Kizito. Kizito was the youngest. They killed him when he was only 14 years. He was not baptized by the missionaries. So now it was Charles Rwanga who baptized Kizito just shortly after the condemnation. And I'm telling him, younger man, don't lose faith. We are going in heaven. Those 2 martyrs are popular. Kizito, because he was the youngest. Charles Rwanga, because he was the leader. Now there you see, near the door there you see the Pope. The Pope, Pope Paul VI, was just lying down here under the altar. In the whole of Africa, the first Pope came to Uganda. He was here at Namugongo on the 2nd of August, 1969. Pope Paul VI. In the whole of Africa, he first came to Uganda. And he came here at Namugongo. John Paul II also was here at Namugongo on the 7th of February, 1993. Pope Francis also came. on 28th of November 2015. And the last painting there is showing the first cardinal of Uganda, the late Emmanuel Nsubuga. Was made a cardinal in 1976 and he died in 1991. Now there you see the Kabaka, the king. The king was sitting on the skin of a leopard, showing his powers. Kabaka Mwanga, King Mwanga, the one who killed the Uganda martyrs. He was just sitting on the skin of a leopard, sitting on his throne, passing a death sentence. Take them away, go and burn them. Take them to Namugongo and burn them. Now the last painting there is showing canonization. The Uganda martyrs are all saints. They were proclaimed the saints on 18th of October 1964.
I'll be waiting you to join me on the second episode as we continue to exhaust religious tourism with the Catholics. We'll be starting exactly see what's also there regarding the Uganda matters.
Welcome back from that bit of religious tourism. Looking forward to learning more in regards to the Catholics and the Uganda matters as it has been shown there. Can't wait for part 2. So thank you, Zakia Laki, for that particular one. But you are watching Good Morning Uganda. My name is Julie F. Nantaba Musisi, and it's time for us to delve deep into GMU business. And we're starting off with the monthly coffee report as of February 2025, and looking at the key highlights. A total of 555,756 kilo bags of coffee valued at $167.78 million were exported in February 2025 at an average price of $5.03 per kilo, and 29 cents higher than $4.74 per kilo in January 2025, and $1.86 higher than $3.17 per kilo in February 2024. This was an increase of 27.93% and 103.25% in quantity and value, respectively, compared to the same month last year. Now, farm gate prices for Robusta Chiboko averaged at 7,750 per kilo, and FAQ was at 15,500 Uganda shillings per kilo. Arabica parchment at 14,500 Uganda shillings per kilo, and Draga at 13,250 Uganda shillings per kilo. Now, coffee exports for 12 months, that is March 2024 to February 2025, totaled to 6.57 million bags worth $1.72 billion US dollars, compared to 6.14 million bags worth $999.84 million US dollars in the previous year, March 2023 to February 2024. Now, this represents an increase in 6.99% and 70.71% in quantity and value, respectively. 71% of the total volume was exported by 10 exporters out of 61 companies which performed during the month, compared to 70% in January 2025. Bugisu fetched the highest price at $8.18 US dollars per kilo. Now, after that report, let's take a turn to look at Tamata's fake cement, and this is in Tororo. A team of CID officers from Tororo and outside the district and other security personnel raided TCAF cell, TCAF ward, Osukuru town, after receiving intelligence tip of fake cement production in the area. Now, with a section of district leaders, including security officials accused of facilitating the racket, independent investigator Milton Birungi, the Mbale CID in charge, was appointed to lead the probe. During the operation, the team discovered 2 stores stocked with counterfeit cement of 380 bags and 356 bags respectively. Now, several suspects are currently in custody assisting security with further investigations. Authorities have warned that more arrests are imminent. This is not the first time Tororo is exposed as a hub for counterfeit cement production and distribution. Some security personnel who requested anonymity revealed that high-ranking district officials are allegedly involved in the illegal trade. Preliminary investigations indicate that the fake cement is produced using fine dust imported from Isimba Quarry in Jeru, Jinja. Reports also suggest that 500 kilograms of fine dust is mixed with just 50 kilograms of genuine cement. Can you imagine? Before being repackaged in smuggled Tororo cement branded bags. Sad. I can imagine the loss it's causing Tororo cement as a business in there. But let's look at matters mining and in particular salt mining. The Uganda Development Corporation is working to revive the salt factory in Kasese district, with Rwenzori Shining Stars Limited showing interest in the project. Dennis Dokoria, the manager of communications UDC, says that the restoration will create jobs and services. Miners, however, are concerned that salt extraction has exceeded the lake's capacity and are seeking support for protective gear to prevent harm from the high salt concentration. Kasese Salt Lake is found within Queen Elizabeth National Park in Kasese district. It is a crater lake that has inlets but without outlets, causing high evaporation and salt concentration, and was formed through volcanic activity thousands of years ago. The main activity here is salt mining, which is harvested through traditional methods from salt pans, which in simple understanding are plots of water. How do you acquire a salt pan? The traditional methods expose miners to highly concentrated salt, which leads to skin burns and infections. Now, despite the physical challenges associated with the activity, locals are able to earn a livelihood. There is worry that the extraction of salt is superseding the capacity of the lake, calling for the utilization of other 6 salt lakes in the region. Once the salt is harvested and washed with a solution to refine the final product, it reaches the market unbranded due to the miners' lack of processing technology, and miners also face challenges of inadequate storage facility, climate change, which slows down their output. Women are majority of the sellers of this product in Lake Katwe, but also highlight the key recommendations to support their efforts. The 2019 Board of Survey decided to auction off the machines that had become eroded and obsolete due to the factory's inactivity. However, the Uganda Development Corporation remains committed to ensuring the factory's revival. Now, let's move on to matters local investment. State Minister for Investment Evelyn Anite has challenged local investors to embrace financial discipline through borrowing and having the discipline to repay the loans. She was touring Prayosha Group of Companies, which she held for import substitution. Prayosha Group of Companies is 3-in-1, involved in local manufacturing, processing of aluminium doors, paper products, and extension of construction services. State Minister for Investment and Privatization Evelyn Anite visited the investment and encouraged other investors to follow suit. But the challenge is financial discipline for investors, she mentioned, and Anite wants Ugandans to desist from being permanent borrowers. Now, time to take a look at what the forex rates look like. And as of 25th March 2025, the US dollar was buying at 3,659.86 and selling at 3,669.86. By midday, it was at 3,659.91, increased value there, and sold at 3,669.91 and closed in at 3,660.23 there, with being sold at 3,670.23. But the pound was at 4,730.48 and selling at 4,743.40. And the euro was buying at 3,954.14 and selling at 3,964.94. The Kenyan shilling was at 28.29 and selling at 28.37. The Tanzanian shilling was at 1.37 and selling at 1.37, and the South African rand was at 200.59 and selling at 201.14. And that wraps it for GMU Business. Good Morning Uganda does continue. Up next is the agenda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100*21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Juko.
Yo.
Wachikuwa.
Achirai.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda wange, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
We're going to be talking about farming, but it's not me that's going to do that.
My name is Hava K. Luanga.
My name is Larry Charles K.
Let's go!
go!
Mixed farm is a type of farming that involves growing crops and raising livestock. This is the spice garden and for the vegetables.
My first favorite spice has to be black pepper.
What's black pepper in Uganda?
Kamulali or mudagavu.
What? We're going to talk about the sechunga. We're going to see how big it is, as big as Larry's head. And then we're going to talk about the mangada. So we're going to get there. We have still so many farms to visit. And I would like to hear from you. This is the Little Farmer Show, and we are bringing coolness back to farming. See you!
A new dawn on Behind the Headlines with me, Timothy Nyangweso. Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala. We have conversations that have analysis, explanation, but not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Kikatandika 2016 tukaba tuyina obusente buke munonga obwabitakubasa kutumalira tukaba ntusevinga kandi ntwahura ntuhoza turi bamemba 30 kusya 2021 emyoga yija emyoga kuyizire twahindura mu system eyabirera outside catering twajeta restaurant akuba catering ketari yakariyo restaurant twatandika kusevinga kirecho twasevingira him twaro nshanjo na gumwe iki twatandikireho ekitebecho twatandika no kuyayo sente zemyoga 2021 ukwezi kwa mukaga ebiri kuma kwezi kwa mukaga tuihayo ruti yo kubanza miliyoni 3 hanyuma ya 1 month kutwagarukire batuhereza miliyoni 5 zaba 8 twazishashura twazumara myezi mukaga twagarukayo tuyayo miliyoni 10 twayihaye zindi 10 twazishashura zaba 28 hati tuyini 10 ezituriyo twazo meisho za 38 konka obwa hati cyake go restaurant tuyine miliyoni 58 n'emitwaro 2 ezitwaye sevingire itwenka association tukuru kugira ngo tukozesize emyoga yonka ekashanga nitwe turi abakozi nitukora emyoga kuyizire tine magoba yatwongeserereza itwe twakora magoba go kugira ngo tugureho poroti twagigura twareba ngo kugura poroti tukombeka ate kuja kututahiza juba nko kutwakubire tuyine business endijo twatunga ntase ya buri zoba tuyine hibiscus juice twakora wine twakora liquid soap twakora habo jelly ezo zabe ntasya zeitu nkabantu tuyine na millet flour ebyona ebikutahiza ekitebeki nokoma kubaga kurugamu omurye bitwamara kutunda twagumiza mu ntombeka poroti yaitu eyekibina ahabwe myoga so kindi kugambira nti emyoga niyo yatukozesize ebi etakizire tukaba sitine sente tukasitakagizire na kiroto cyo kugira ngo tushubure nkabanya kibina enju hatukinjire tushakire tukinjire commercial business kandi tucyayombeka nukwe bino nibigumane bireta sente nibizara sente nitubaganaho nitwe nkabanya kitebe ntusevingaho mu kitebe kitu kandi ntugumiza muno gukora development y'ekibina so vari addition ekatuyamba munonga abwo kuba ekatwongera sente twayongera amani ahabwe emyoga ebitoke byabire nibidiba twatandika kubikoramu wine cyatuyamba umwanya wo kugira ngo tubitema atemerente n'embuzi twabikoramu wine echupa imwe ya wine ntugiguze mitware 2 kandi ekidomora cya wine ntugiguze mitwaro 6 hibiscus juice tuguza akadomora ku rwarte emwe kugarukira arti 5 nero waringa pressure na sukari netambe kigaro nkemyoga nsima president Museveni abwo kuba talizire ahitwabire turi tukasitari nka hato kuturi konka hati sente ziriho niyo wenkano kireba ngo ebinte bitwine birukutasya nibitasya burkeire amagaragarije abo kuba twine sente hiziri icyo kuteganisa no rufurgo nkabite bisigire noba no yehuraje akwa wenda kunywa soda no yarojinyi wenda kurya nyama no yarojirire so nguturije so ngo abantu baganyirwe kandi icyo twenka tuganyirwe ne cyaro kiganyirwe itwe tugobire amagoba guturu kwihaho tuyine mbuzi tuyine punu abantu bona buri muntu ayine henkoko kandi ababire bine obujubuti bakombeka amaju ababire batine bibanja bakagaruka bayongera kugukobwa ngo bakora baguzire bibanja so turukurunji basingo maza nibekolera barije munonga tebakwegomba kugira ngo nanka ino mushija nukwara kurunji kureka bakatunga sente tukatunga muzaire Museveni yatemyoga so turukurunje umuntu wena nana yitaga sente niko base kukole bintu akabaje nkanye nkajowana bahumugisha ni sima obwebembezi bwa president Yoweri Museveni nyowe ebyanje bitambwire kurunji tinde ngabarebere byo bote no mini abakazi bakaba batakora bintu mbwire bo mini Museveni ahangare nko musoro ahangare kisapeho ayebari sima bwongerwa.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Before I joined the Emyoga program, I was ignorant about income generating scheme. I was financially poor, but through Emyoga, when I was elected to become the secretary of the circle, I started gaining skills and knowledge on financial management. When we received the money, I borrowed 2,700,000. With that money, I was able to buy 2 cows. Some balance, I was able to improve on my citrus because it was affected so badly. Part of it, I put it on poultry because I knew that poultry is another place that I can invest money. Because poultry has a quick return. We sell it at any time. Before, the orange was really affected by the virus and I was not able to spray, but when I got the money, I focused on it, had to get labor to help me soften the trees, spray, remove the sick one and bury So when I did that, there was improvement in the tree. It was no longer getting those diseases. But the first time I got the good yield, that made me get 2,600,000. That was between February and March. And I continued getting up to now. There's continuous harvest. If it was not through Emyoga support to improve on it, I wouldn't have got that money. In my circle, I have 17 associations, and I have a total of 117 members. So being women entrepreneurs, we have created other activities that can earn us income, like drying eggplants and packaging. We have also managed to have cassava chips, that's a high quality. Packet can be milled and then also mixed with cowpea flour to make bagia that can be packed for children for school. We also have sodium bicarbonate, abalang. People have been just neglecting those things, but in the community, if you don't have, you cannot prepare a magira. We have also initiated that, putting it in the box, then also labeling or branding. It fetches us money, daily income. We have different products made from different associations, but all, when we meet, we advise one another and we visit one another to see how each association works. There are those who do piggery, some do poultry, some do the sales of clothes. Their lives have changed because before, some of them were not doing any business. But when this seed capital came, that's when they started thinking what to do. And when we meet, we always encourage. Being a woman, you need to have money. You need to have an activity that you do to fetch you what? Money. After me clearing the first loan, I got another loan. Still to put on more on poultry and also saving on other investments so that I get more money. But I found that I was improving. Life was becoming cheap. And from there, as I was getting from the orange sales, we wanted to construct a rental place for investing or to sustain our income generating activity. That's when we constructed the house, and we're still continuing, but we're left with a few areas to finish. And our stay in the family is very good. We no longer have conflicts. I'm peaceful with my husband. We plan together. Life has improved. We can get money at any time. Diet has improved. I passed through hardship, getting money where months you would not handle 10,000, but now a week is too much. So I send my thanks to the President of Uganda for having thought of Emyoga, an initiative for job creation and wealth. Indeed, in my circle, women have become beautiful, they have become knowledgeable, they have become exposed. Being the secretary of the circle, it has also given me an opportunity. I'm also secretary to our Muslim Council. I'm the only woman who is the secretary and I'm with the men. So that makes me happy too.
I'd love to take this opportunity to thank our President, Yoweri Kaguta Turihabura Museveni, by coming up with a Emyoga program. We started in 2021 as Kasumi Parish Carpenters Emyoga Circle. When we received this amount of 30 million, we had a problem, we had a challenge of machines. We used to carry our wood and we would carry it up to Waise to be worked on. So when we got this chance, we are able to buy machines to ease our work of carpentry. At the moment, we are a number composed of 140 members. We have the women who come in and do saloon chairs. We have the men doing 3-drawer tables, 2-drawer tables, and different kind of furniture. Before the Myoga program came in, we had a lot of crimes taking place on this road. When this Myoga program came up, we managed to collect these youths. We gave them hope that you can change from stealing, and we can give you skill so that you be someone in the society that will even help another person.
Kansoke ddala okwebaza omukulembeze w'eggwanga olw'emirimu emirungi gy'ataddemu ngaffe abavubuka. Nze nno nze omu ku abo abaabeeranga ku kkubo okwo emisana n'ekiro ng'oluusi olw'okuba naffe tunoonya ekyokulya nga gwakiyina oba mmwe twakiyitanga b'amalala bagenda beerabisa nga tubagwamu munnange era nga tuba tulina obikuggyako naffe ne tubaawo. Naye munnange neebaza kyamani wange wa wano yankwatako nno wamu ne bannange twatandika okukozesa mashini zino tandika okuwawula okulanda okukola dizayini emmeeza zino tuzifulumya entebe bwe ziti tulina emirimu gy'otutandikirako emyangu okugeza ng'okufulumya obumotoka buno. Kano akamotoka n'omwana omuto w'emyaka 5 akafulumya. Bw'ova mu kufulumya akamotoka kano owawula okukwata oluwawu n'owawula emmeeza ng'eno n'ebeera smooth. Oluvaawo nga bakutwala ku mashini eno olubaawo lukolebwa oti lutambu bwentyo ndi wa mukisa byonna saabisasulira. Najja wano ne baŋŋamba President Museveni bino ebyuma yabituwa byammwe mulina okuba nga mubikozesa. Omukisa ne ngutwala era neebaza kuba kati ne bwe mba nvudde wano ne ŋŋenda ewalala ne bwe ŋŋenda Sudan nsobola okusigala nga ndi mu mulimu gwe gumu ogw'obubazzi ne gumbeezaawo wamu ne famire yange.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, good morning once again. It's Good Morning Uganda. It's still raining, but we give thanks for the rain and hopefully praying for you to get to wherever you're going safe and sound despite the heavy rains. But today on the agenda, we are having a conversation on cooperatives, and a little later on, we'll be delving deeper into the agricultural value chain financing through cooperatives. But for now, Robert and I are starting that conversation to just give you a little preamble on what cooperatives are, especially if you've never really understood what they are all about, but wish to learn and wish to be educated on what they are and how best you can be a part of them. The agenda is where we get to engage in conversations that matter to you and I and the rest of the team here, every individual, so that we all together are able to learn and relearn. Good morning, Robert, once again.
It's a cold morning, I must say, and of course I know Minpa held up by the rain. Most when it rains in Uganda, a number of our roads become impassable.
Yes.
And of course, if you're not very sure of where you're setting feet, please do not attempt. Because we don't want to have stories of later on you're discovered along Nachivubo channel, you discovered, you know, the manholes are open, some of them. We are good at stealing the covers as Ugandans. Some of our roads, they are flooded. I was seeing some picture.
Around Chambogo.
Around Chambogo, even seeing Coca-Cola, was it Pepsi-Cola crates?
Pepsi crates, yes.
In the way, floating. So things are not that very good. So now you have the road, you're not very sure, and visibility as well. There's a bit of, is it mist, fog, something like that. And if your wipers are not that very good, so you rather stay indoor than risking coming out and you cause an accident or you're a problem to yourself later.
Or lose life.
Or lose life,
you'd rather lose a day and you'd rather lose time than losing life that is permanent.
Definitely.
But let's focus on cooperatives. To a layman, what are cooperatives?
Well, I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible. Now, when you talk about cooperatives in Uganda, many Ugandans have heard of cooperatives. I want to tell you the number of Ugandans who went to school or who were educated because we had cooperatives. Not that they died, no. That there was something we can call a recess. Previously, many of you would tell you, my father was growing tea, my father was growing cotton, coffee, and what would happen? My parents would take coffee to a store and they would be given something as proof that there is coffee there. Once sold, or that receipt was equivalent maybe to an ATM. So take it to school and school fees are paid and things like that. But basically,
oh, wow.
Yes, in those what they sometimes call the good golden days of cooperatives.
Wow.
Of course, some are starting it now. I know of one called Chibinge, a cooperative in Chibinge. They are coffee growers. Now for them, even now, if you're their member, they know they gave you the right seedlings. You have proper agricultural skills, farming. They have extension workers within them. So if they know you have an acre of coffee and they know how many bags, therefore, you're going to get, you can go and get pesticides from a different store. They have one. They give you a loan. They have a circle there. So they give you money because at the end of the day, they know that your coffee is coming to their store and other people. So they aggregate their coffee. Then they sell in bulk. Now, these are farmers in Chibinge, Masaka, but they are selling tons of coffee overseas and making good money. But basically, a cooperative is when people who share the same problem come together, organize themselves to find a solution to the problem. Now, when we look at the history of cooperatives, you'll find that we had waivers in the UK who felt they were being oppressed. Here in Uganda, when we had the Chinakulia, these were farmers, but they were seeing that the Indians or Asians by then were over-exploiting them. So they said, let's come together. How do we solve this issue? Bring your coffee, I bring my coffee. We have bulk in numbers. Then we look for market. So basically, cooperatives are brought, people come together for a common problem. It is democratically governed. It is people owned. And then, of course, now they formalize. We have the Ministry of Trade and Cooperatives, then they go to register it, and they begin the bureaucracy of formalizing it. But cooperatives take different forms. The only problem is that many Ugandans know the agricultural cooperatives. Today we have the so-called circles. That is a form of cooperatives, but financial cooperatives. We have those in the transport sector, we have those in power, we have the various groupings of people who have come together and they have a same problem, a same challenge. They bring resources together, then they are able to develop themselves.
Oh, wow. That is a very, very simple explanation to you who has been wondering what they are and you're looking forward to grow economically and improve your life. I think that has well explained it, but you've hinted on the roles of cooperatives, but help us dig deeper into each role and just enlighten on what the roles are in a particular light.
Well, first, like I said, a cooperative is formed when you have a purpose. What is it that you want to overcome? Because united we stand, divided we fall.
Yes.
But also numbers in anything mean much. Let's begin with the agriculture sector. Now, when you come together and you sell in bulk, because if you amalgamate what you produce and sell in bulk, that means you're going to have bigger markets. If I would drive to Chanamukaka to pick 10 bags, I may not go. But if I know there are 100 bags, I'll go and pick them. 2, cooperatives give information because there is regular training. Information of what you need, that particular group. Cooperatives give financial assistance because you find that most of the cooperatives have a financial element. they'll have a circle within them. So a person can borrow money because you bring together, there is a pool from which you can borrow on less interest or non-interest, because they're not profit-oriented like companies. So if you have the ability to get money and inject in your business, there is financial assistance, there is knowledge, financial assistance, issues of governance. And if I've known of any organization where transparency is key, that is in cooperatives. And above all, they also develop leadership skills, because you'll find that today one is a leader. When they have their annual general meeting, AGM, your term has come to an end, depending on their constitution, well, definitely another person takes over. Or you're re-elected if you've performed to their expectations of the people. So key is marketing, providing markets for the agricultural ones. 3, a voice for the many. Because when you're scattered, I'm scattered, we are scattered. But when we are many and we are speaking, when we look at their apex body, the Uganda Cooperative Alliance, that brings all these cooperatives, you'll find that they speak with a voice and they can influence change, or the way things or policies that are being done. Because if a person stands up and says we are a cooperative of 1,000 dairy farmers, now if they're talking about acaricides that are no longer working, you ought to listen to them. There are numbers. There are many that are in this sector. You ought to listen. But if someone from a certain corner talks about acaricides that are not functioning, the ticks are just growing bigger and fatter, it doesn't make sense. The voice is minor. So those are some of the outstanding roles of cooperatives and why one should belong to one.
Oh, very, very enlightening at that. Now, if you want to be a part of the conversation, 0709602592, that's the number to which you send your WhatsApp message, your opinion, what you have in mind, and what you're suggesting in regards to this particular conversation. Now, let's look at what role the government plays in supporting the development of cooperatives in Uganda.
Very interesting question, I must say, because you find that many Ugandans today will still tell you that cooperatives, would I use the word, perished? Of course, there are few that were there then and are still thriving. The Bugishu Cooperative Union, I don't know if Banyankole Kweterana is still there, Mengo, East Mengo, there are a number of them. So many of those are not, some are not around because of course the political challenges that we faced. Some of their assets were sold, some were stolen and all that. We all know Uganda's history, where I've come from. But some have been resurrected. 2, they have had we've had new cooperatives coming up now. Like I talked of Chibinge, we have Wakule Nume that is in transport. I don't know if you've seen those, are they buses or they are coasters?
I think coasters.
They are coasters, yes. I don't want to give here.
They are not as
big as buses. When you look at today, the circles, there are a form of cooperatives. Now, one government has a full ministry, Ministry of Trade and Cooperatives, that regulates. Government has provided support in terms of training. Government has provided support in terms of money. Government has provided support in terms of legal frameworks that they're supposed to follow. Government has provided support through the various programs to aiding these cooperatives. I know of cooperatives that have received things used to store milk. Are they called freezers?
Okay.
No, in the dairies there is that coolers.
Oh, coolers. Yes.
The government has given coolers, a number of dairy cooperatives. Government has given seedlings. Government has given equipment to a number of cooperatives in the coffee sector. Now, government has also used the circles when we talk about the parish development model, which is one of the areas that government is using, the parish development model, to extend, because that is a form of cooperative. Actually, when we look at government ways of working or alleviating poverty, they are more or less the cooperative model. Form a group, you know, get well organized, register yourselves, then government injects. You find that government policy has not been so much on handling poverty alleviation at individual level. It has been more of handling poverty at group level. There could be a bit of challenges in that maybe the people have not really understood the foundation of cooperatives, because sometimes we've had misinformation like form circles and you're given money. But still, that can be perfected. But the actual thing, is it the principle of cooperatives? So government has invested in cooperatives. Government has provided the legal framework. Government has used cooperatives as a vehicle to channel resources to fight and alleviate poverty. Yes.
Well, thank you. We are talking about cooperatives in Uganda, and that is the conversation we are having. And Robert is actually elaborating and giving us a wider picture for us to be able to understand what cooperatives are in a layman's language, and that would help you better to make a decision as to why you should join one. Now let's look at the challenges of cooperatives in Uganda. Many of them face, especially in terms of governance, financing and operations, especially in rural areas. What are some of those challenges?
I'll begin with leadership issues. Many of the cooperatives face a leadership challenge because many of these have not gotten enough information on how they should operate. So you find that we are 5, we are 6, we start something, we say, well, we are cattle keepers, well, we are working in the market. The formation is not formal. Then later something becomes big, you know, we have more people come in, and then we're like, no, let's begin. You can make this a cooperative. When the foundation was not a cooperative, someone brings in information, no, we can form a circle, we can do this. So when we eventually have this cooperative well fully fledged, now we go back and say we are the founders. We don't look at the members as the regulations require us to look at them. So that's why we've had issues of accountability, we've had changes of leadership, we've had sometimes people moving away with these funds, we've had issues of theft, because that foundation, most of the times, people have not had the right foundation. The sensitization, there's lack of enough knowledge regarding formation. So when the foundation is wrong, eventually you have challenges.
Well, thank you very much, Robert, for that enlightening information. And like I said earlier on, that we would be delving deep into this conversation, looking at agricultural value chain financing through cooperatives in Uganda. And over the phone, we do have Miss Justine Kayinza, who is the head of Partnerships Uganda Cooperatives Alliance. Good morning, Miss Justine.
Good morning. Thank you so much, UBC, for hosting us. And thank you for the virtual initiative, because honestly, today's weather,
yes.
But I'm happy to be part of the discussion this morning.
We hope you're safe wherever you are, and you're not heavily affected by the rains.
I'm safe, yes.
That is great. Now, you're not new to UBC, and for anyone who sees you, they'll immediately know that it's all about Uganda Cooperatives Alliance Limited. And today in particular, we are looking at agricultural value chain financing through cooperatives. And allow me start from here. How do cooperatives in Uganda contribute to the development of agricultural value chains?
Thank you so much. When we talk about agricultural value chain, first of all, we are talking about the whole process of agriculture, right from production, to value addition, and then marketing and the rest. So as Uganda Cooperative Alliance, we have different types of cooperatives, different types and forms of cooperatives. So among the cooperatives currently we have in Uganda, we have those which are into agricultural marketing. Actually, as of end of February, there were 1,404 cooperatives which are into in the agricultural value chain. So that's why we come out to reach out to the different stakeholders, different players. We want to interest them. We know that Uganda, generally, our economy is based on agriculture. Most of the activities that we do, most of the enterprises in the community rotate around agriculture. So since we have this type of cooperatives already in existence, and we know of what they do, so it's along that, in that spirit that we reach out to different stakeholders, that we come up to even market this model of cooperatives. We say, when we are together, first of all, in cooperatives, we have even the financing, the business models, where now the tripartite, where we have the farmer at the center of that triangle. We have where they belong to a cooperative, and then in most cooperatives, so there is also a circle. So this is how even the traditional cooperatives have been able to sustain that value, the agricultural value chain. So we are coming up to that. This is a good model, and it's one of those that we could enhance as a country to ensure that we enhance productivity, moving in line with the bigger picture of NDP4 and the Vision 2040.
Oh, wow. And allow me also ask to elaborate through more light on the vision of Uganda Cooperatives Alliance Limited for agricultural value chains. Currently, what you're focusing on?
Yes, currently, for the agricultural value chain, we are, of course, we've had the primary production, but now there's an initiative, we wrote a proposal, we reached out to government. We are looking, first of all, at there are these idle facilities. Not all of them are idle, but we had a project by government. It was called the Rural Infrastructure Improvement Program. Now, in most of our communities, these structures are scattered all over the country. So as one of the avenues that we want to use as UCA, we reached out to government. We said we can mobilize people around these facilities, because for instance, those which were under CAIP, we had 251 APS agro-processing facilities countrywide, but we are saying some of them are lying idle in these communities. And here we are. We have people who are organized already in cooperatives, but also those ones who are around these facilities that are not in cooperatives. We can mobilize them as Uganda Cooperative Alliance, and we help them out in the structuring themselves, forming cooperatives and the governing structure, so that they can tap into these facilities instead of having them lying idle. Because we are seeing, production has gone up, and especially now that government is also coming up with the EMIOGA. I mean, you have the parish models, the EMIOGA. We are going to see production increase. So that's why as Uganda Cooperative Alliance, we pose the question, and we are like, now, in the increase of this production, where are we going to have all this input? Where are we going to have the product? How are we going to improve value? Because at the end of the day, we are all stakeholders, we are all players towards ensuring that we improve the households of these Ugandans. So this is one of the avenues. We want to mobilize our communities around those agro-processing facilities for value addition, and that's the spirit of NDP4. And of course, we all know that when we add value onto our products, we increase on their sales in the market, and eventually even government will benefit, because if the cooperatives or the community, the organized farmers go into higher production, this will be good. But secondly, we also have a project, it's called Farmer Rural Organization. It's called Farm Organization for Rural Transformation. It's an ongoing project between UCA and Agritela, one of our partners. So this project is in some areas of the country, like we have Kole, we have Elgon, we have Acholi, Busoga, and we are also organizing farmers. We are reaching out to farmers to organize them into these cooperatives, teach them these good methods of value addition, and maybe, but above all, collective marketing is what we are targeting. So we are reaching also out. That's one of the avenues currently we are undertaking in the community.
Oh, wow.
To ensure that.
Thank you very much. Are there any other stakeholders or partners you're working with to achieve this vision?
Yes, sure. Now, like the Farmer Organization for Transformation Project, we're working with our partner Agritela, which is really two farmer cooperatives. As we have coordinators in those regions of the country who are already onboarding those cooperatives. They're in the field actually as we speak. But our biggest, of course, we work with government. That's the biggest. Our Ministry of Trade, Industry and Corporate, that is our supervisor, Uganda Cooperative Alliance. We work with them in supervising this cooperative, in reaching out to them. And currently, we had an engagement with UDP as they were revising their strategic plan. They reached out to UC and they're like, what do we do? How best do we support these cooperatives? So we interested them, said, okay, of course we are looking for them at the bigger agriculture value chain, but we're also interested in them cooperatives. We are telling them, look, you people, you're the investment arm of government. You have these funds that you're giving to different entrepreneurs. But look here, we have organized people who are already organized into groups, full security is guaranteed. For us, that's the beauty we enjoy in cooperatives, because we are, that unit of, you're already in a cooperative, we are united, that security is there, the group, the Cooperative. So that is then Operation Wealth Creation, like on the side of the agro-processing facilities, we are working closely with Operation Wealth Creation. We are, in fact, that is the revival of these agro-processing facilities, we are doing it jointly with them and other stakeholders who are into the financial sector.
Thank you very much, Ms. Justine. We are talking about agricultural value chain financing through cooperatives, and Ms. Justine Kayinza is on the phone with us to talk more about that. She is the partnerships coordinator at the Uganda Cooperatives Alliance Limited, and if you want to be a part of the conversation, do send your WhatsApp message to 0709 602 592. Now, Ms. Justine,
yes.
How are you facilitating access to smallholder farmers through cooperatives?
First of all, when you look at the cooperative model itself, like I talked about our business development models, first of all, the tripartite, the integrated cooperative model, wealth creation model, I describe that it is a tripartite, it's three. So in the center of that, we have the services that are provided to the different members. Okay, I can take an example of a member of a cooperative. One, you belong to a cooperative. So as a member, this cooperative that you belong to can help in first of all, access to input, because now you're talking about the value chain, improving financial services. You might look at money per se, but we've had cooperatives which can provide quality seeds, which can buy equipment for the members. But apart from that, then we also have so we have the member, we have the cooperative, and this member also, the cooperative has maybe a circle element in it. Circles are financial natures of cooperatives. So that means if you're a member, you're belonging to a cooperative, then you are at the same time the circle. You can easily reach out to the circle for financing, which financing is affordable in our circle, because this member, as you know, a cooperative, this is people come together. It's a group. It's an association of persons who unite voluntarily to meet their common economic, social, or cultural aspirations, but through a jointly owned enterprise. So, if now we are into agriculture, we have formed our enterprise. We have our cooperative. So, as a member of a cooperative, I belong to a cooperative. There is a circle which I can borrow money from, and then at the end of the day, the marketing component of it. The cooperative can look out for markets. So this is one avenue through the savings of the circles themselves. They do savings. So that is it on that member savings. But like I was also interested, like I told you, we are reaching out to encouraging the cooperators to reach out to government programs. Like we have the Grow Project, which is offering, a very, very, the interest is really, it's not pricey compared maybe to other facilities. We are reaching out to partners like now the UDPs. They are like, look here, we are into production. These cooperatives, they are also into even large scale production. How can you come in now like our partner, like UDP? You're like, no, okay, they might give the loans, fine, but also they can acquire the equipment. Equipment might be a problem. These people might need maybe a coffee hall, and they are like, okay, we can, acquire for this cooperative. So we try to link them to such partners. And so one, they use through their own money, using their own available funds, they save as circles, members, as agricultural cooperatives, but also linking them to partners. Now we're working with farmer organizations, that project for transformation. These are some of the ways we are connecting them to reorganize them, link them to finances. So, but in the long run, the bigger picture is we are working towards reviving the cooperative bank, because back in history, when you look at the way these traditional cooperatives survived, they had their own source of funding. Why would also want in future to look at the cooperative bank? We believe it would offer affordable, and at least they would consider even the season. Because that's why when we reach out to our partners, we also try to negotiate on that terms. You're giving us an agricultural facility, fine, but why are you calculating interest right from the time of acquisition, before I even buy the seed, before I even plant? So in the long run, at Uganda Cooperative Alliance, we are really working on the revival of the cooperative bank with other stakeholders, especially Ministry of Trade, and then the other key stakeholders in the sector want to see, but you're looking at the line of financing. So currently,
all right, thank you very much. Now let's look at the balance, especially for farmers in rural areas. How do cooperatives balance the need for financial stability with the challenges of supporting farmers, especially those that are in rural areas?
In rural areas, as you see it, first of all, one of our roles is we do capacity building, financial literacy. So even before we access this money, all those which have access, because accessing the finances is one area, but sustaining that finance is another. So what we do, we also reach out to do financial literacy. We reach out to educate them on our business models. That there is the FACT methodology. In this FACT methodology, we equip the members, the cooperative members, with skills. In this skill, which kind of skills are these? Like proposal writing, coming up with plans, coming up with budgets. When we empower them to also write these proposals, reach out for funding, it helps. And it helps because when they acquire these funds, at least they can use them to supplement what they have. But in rural communities also currently, we encourage our cooperatives. Of course, now the cooperatives are diverse in nature. We also have the Emyoga, the CDM. We encourage our members to also reach out, tap into these government opportunities. Now, when this ongoing, the Emyoga, the parish development model initiatives by government, we tell them, look here, we can get organized and tap in the rural areas. Let's say that 1 million is little money, no? You can start on something. After all, even in the rural communities, we own the land, so you're not going to buy land. So we tell them, reach out and get some of these money from government. So it's mostly, and then of course they also reach out to the circles in these communities. So for now, that's what I can. That's how best the rural farmers, the rural communities, that's how best we are empowering them.
Oh wow, very enlightening. Very enlightening it is. If you are just joining us, we are talking agricultural value chain financing through cooperatives, and over the phone we do have Miss Justine Kayinza. She is the head of partnerships at the Uganda Cooperatives Alliance Limited, and she is helping us understand more into that field. So if you want to be a part of the conversation, 0709 602 592 is the number to send your WhatsApp message to, so that we are able to also get your opinion on there. And reading a few of your comments, hopefully Ms. Kayinza will be able to answer some of them. Okelo Kwo George Dickens, you come through and you say West Acholi Cooperative Financial Services in Gulu. Oh, you're coming from West Acholi Cooperative Financial Services in Gulu, and you say that it's only in cooperatives that one gets the lowest interest rates, and you send a thumbs up. And you also say that go to UCA unions, primary cooperatives, VSLAs, Emyoga, PDM, name them. In co-ops, there is free entrance and free exit. It's therefore the way to go. Thank you so much, Okela Kwo George Dickens, for getting in touch. And another comment, which will be the last one for now, which cooperative in UCA is going to use for beneficiaries to access I hope Nicodemus, you've typed this right, and I hope I'm able to comprehend it. That you say that are they going to form their own corps or use the existing ones, e.g., Myoga, etc. I'm not so sure I can comprehend it, and I don't know if Miss Justin is comprehending it. Please resend it so that we are able to serve you best. So, Miss Justin.
Yes.
What are the main challenges faced by UCA, especially in accessing financing for agricultural value chains?
Yes, thank you so much. I thank Mr. Keller who called in from West Acholi. Thank you. And the caller who was talking about the PDM, Myoga. Of course, we would encourage those ones, for those who are the new ones which are upcoming, they can format them along the Myoga enterprise in agriculture so that they can access that agricultural finance. And for those which are existing, still they can tap on the grants at the district, the money also that are given by government. So you asked about the challenges that we face as the CM or as the cooperative movement. One of the challenges that we could face maybe as the CA would be our cooperatives being financial. In access of the money. One, like we of course, we have to do more of the proposals. That's right, how to propose it out to partners in this line. So as UCA, we are trying also to empower our unions, the members, to get this knowledge into proposal writing, writing of concepts as one of the ways. Because of course, as UCA, we don't give maybe the money per se, but ours is to link, we train, arbitration, reach out for resources. If there are any policies around agricultural financing which are not fair, that is the voice that we do. But in the line of capacity building, I think on the line I'll get how best would we help? What are the ways we have also tried to help our cooperative? But one, of course, we try to reach out. We've written out some of the proposals. You don't have all of them go through. And then since we don't have maybe that big budget as UCA on our own to do most of this mobilization, we have to reach out to the partnership. We have to reach out for different partners, whereby, of course, you might not at times get it just at the click of a finger and the money is there, or the person is on board. But we try, amid all that, to see that we reach out. That's why even now today we're supposed to be hosting UDP. We are like, okay, look, we look out for where the financing is. And they're like, please, apart from the member money which we have saved as cooperatives, or what you're already embarking on, can we go to UDP? Can we go to Grow? What maybe in Sunbeat? I mean, what is government offering through the district? So I think, generally, basically, the limitation can only be on financing, but in our role, we try to do the partnership, we try to do the capacity building, especially around the lines of finances, and that's why we also try to look at value addition, to promote value addition in the cooperative, because this is one when the products, when it's value added, they will be selling more on the market and their yields will fetch a little more. So I don't know whether I really got it, but at least these are some of the ways that we try to bring out, to drum it out. We are like, please look, we already organized, our members are already organized, maybe even market by that way, because it's a value chain from production to marketing. Someone can say, okay, there are these cooperatives, and Kole Coffee has this much, actually is producing. Maybe we can come in the marketing element, the bulking. We also encourage our members to do the collective bulking as we wait for prices to it. We encourage them to bulk, but times because of pressures, people buy not really religiously. And actually one of the challenges we have, most of I come from Mount Elgon, you find trucks, people coming from Kenya, they are buying direct. So I don't know, this is a liberalized economy, but again, how do we protect this, these farmers, these cooperatives? Because if the middlemen are coming direct to the garden, these members would be bulking with the cooperative, they end up again. So we try to see ways of mitigating, strengthening them, reaching out to partners, and above all, interesting the members to tap into the existing government programs, that line of financing that value chain addition.
Oh, I love that even in the midst of the challenges, you're thinking of solutions in there. Now, Chibeti Patrick comes through and he says, Miss Kayinza Justin, what message do you have for the smallholder farmers and cooperatives back home here in Bududa, which are facing a challenge of lack of markets for their produce, shortage of funds, leadership challenges, among others. That is the first one. So let's first answer that first one.
Yeah, thank you so much, Patrick, from Bududa. We appreciate, and this is why Uganda Cooperative Alliance, one of our mandates is capacity building. We do lobby issues of cooperative. So what we can, the advice I could give, because now, as you see, we can come in the area of capacity building. We can reach out on financial literacy. We need to engage to reach, first of all, the issues of governance. Like I said, they are really diverse. So my approach would be, you can reach out to UC and we see how best we can reach out to these communities and sensitize them on the principles of cooperative, because at times the foundation, especially issues of governance, are really a key and it's affecting that. And of course, we would also do the business modeling, interested in the first methodology, where we're empowering the cooperatives to write bankable proposals and tap into the finances. So it really needs the whole cocktail of solutions to the people, the different communities, not entirely that, but of course to all those that are, it's country, and these challenges are cross-cutting. That can just be a case study of Bududa, but it's the same challenge is also happening elsewhere. So I think that's what we would get back to the principles, engaging them on, principles of cooperative, financial literacy, business planning in cooperative, so that how best they can use it as models of development.
Yes, sure. And secondly, Patrick still says, any comment on poor infrastructure facilities, like infrastructural facilities like roads, which are hampering the functionality and operations of cooperatives in rural communities?
Now, for such infrastructure, now that's why we don't work independently as you see, because now that's why we need the partnership. We need to engage government, because this has to be it needs to be collaborative. Well, now we cannot really say maybe the cooperatives they are empowered to that level of the infrastructure, but now that's where the voice can come in. Because when we teach them the first methodology, this one now brings even the lobbying when we empower this community. If it's in community X, now, these people of the cooperative, if their production has gone up, it can be easy to engage the district commercial officers or the community development officers to point out and say, look here, these people are importing, they're exporting, they're producing too much, maybe matoke, and they want to export, but there's a road that connects. So in the district councils, these can be areas of priority. If now, the production is going high. So we need collaboration, sure, around infrastructure, and then, partners, if they can be partners who can come in to support that area.
Amazing. And Patrick comes through and says that aside, and hopefully Patrick, you're satisfied with what Ms. Justine has responded to your questions and your queries. He says that aside, thank you so much, Ms. Justine, for supporting Bumati GCs in Buwali Sub-County, Lusheshe County. This is Chibeti Patrick Nabutanyi, District Communication and Information Officer, Bududa District Local Government. All right, now let's look at the side of impact, Ms. Justine. I believe you do see the impact and you have the story of the impact. What has been the impact of agricultural financing through cooperatives, especially in rural smallholder farmers to rural smallholder farmers?
Yes, the impact of agriculture financing, of course, when we have the finances, we are going to see production go up, and we are going to see this livelihood. First of all, employment. When we have money into this cooperative, so we shall see more young people engaged into production. We shall see the market, and that's to the rural person. We start with the direct benefit of, yes, someone has at least something to do instead of maybe, being idle in streets in Kampala. At least they engage in an enterprise. We can see skills building, yes, if there's that access to money. But then also, we look at value addition. When the cooperatives have been able to access money, there is value added onto their products. And with value addition, definitely, we expect to fetch better on the market. We have also seen, yes, I talked about the skills. Once the skills are acquired, we start even with model farmers, like at the Uganda Cooperative Alliance. We have where we interest the farmers to visit that are different, maybe model farmers in their areas. So when they visit, these are also good lessons and for learning. But on the bigger picture, of course, now when you look at the flow of the economy, when the person, the grassroots is empowered, their children are able to go to school, they are really, the cooperative is doing well, they are marketing too much. At the end of the day, all these now, again, add up to the contribution to the national, gross domestic product. All these add up to reduction of the unemployment in the country. So there are those linkages, but on the side of the farmer, of the rural cooperative, we see the development of infrastructure. Once the funds are being accessed, I think those are some of the benefits that accrue with them, a financially sound cooperative, and one which is adding value in their produce or their services.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Now, before you came onto the call line, Robert and I were actually talking about issues of transparency in cooperatives, especially still in rural areas where there's less exposure. How have you dealt with that over the time of the Uganda Cooperative Alliance Limited?
Indeed, it's true that some of the challenges we face in cooperatives, actually the major one is governance, issues of governance. Of late we have had so many collapses because of the way that the governance is. But as Uganda Cooperative Alliance, we are like preachers of the gospel. We never tire. We continue engaging our members in training them in good governance practices. And you know, the good thing, I don't know, cooperatives, we have global principles. We run on globally accepted principles. So if only our members would appreciate the cooperative model, and that's why maybe just tap on that. We need to have members or officials who understand the cooperative model better in these communities. That's why we are promoting cooperative education, because it will all start with understanding the cooperative model. This is simple. People come together, they have a common interest, they have a common bond, whether economic, social. We have those principles. We have voluntary and free membership. There is democratic member control, member economic participation, like the one we are talking about today. Then later on, we can also give to the communities the training. Actually, there's a component of training and education, which is key. So as Uganda Cooperative Alliance, we have backed on our role of empowering these communities on capacity building. We do organize, of course, depending on the resources, which we've been trying to do it at regional levels, where we reach out to to the cooperative leaders. And actually, of late, we want to onboard an online system. You see, I'm so glad today you really saved, because the rain was too much and the road is cut off here, there I could not access. But through technology, now I'm able to interact with Ugandans who have tuned in. So we also, as Uganda Cooperative Alliance, want to at least onboard a system, an IT system, whereby we can have more of the engagement, because going to the field means it takes time, it takes resources, and we don't reach out to many people as we would if we use an online tool. So we want to work out with one of our partners, Wakandi, so that we can get a software where we can have these sensors continue building capacity online, because now we are going digital. I mean, we have to adopt some of these technologies. So this will help us to address some of the governance challenges. And it's because people have not appreciated the cooperative model and the way it's run, and the challenge of also the technical people, some, I'm not saying all, but not the leaders in this cooperative not understanding and appreciating the cooperative model. We have had challenges where people, people are defaulting, people are disappearing with the monies, but as you see, we are saying we are not tiring, whether we shall continue to do our role of capacity building, and we thank government for empowering us, giving us the subvention, and above all, so we thank you, UBC Television, for giving us this platform. I mean, at least there are more people who have tuned in, who are listening in, so we appreciate that platform to reach out and continue sensitizing our members on the need of cooperative governance, following up on the cooperative principles. Even our structures are clear. We have the annual general meeting, we have the board. Then below the board, we have management. We are the management, there are subcommittees. So we would like the cooperators to follow these structures. Once we followed them up, I think for me the other challenge which would be hanging would be the financing. How do we build our financial capacity once the governance gap is closed?
Well, thank you so much, Miss Justine Kayinza. She is the head of partnerships at the Uganda Cooperatives Alliance Limited. And she has really elaborated in detail about the agricultural value chain financing through cooperatives. Miss Justine, what is your parting shot in less than a minute?
Oh, my parting shot, thank you so much. I thank you, BC. I thank our dear members who have tuned in from all over the country. Let's please continue engaging. Feel free to reach out to Uganda Cooperative Alliance. We are at Nkrumah Road. We are here to serve the cooperative movement. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Miss Justine. And that brings us to the end of our conversation on the agenda. My name is Julie F. Nantaba Mosisi, and at the start of the conversation was Robert Chirabo, who you're going to see in a short while with Good Morning Uganda Extra.